Good morning.
Good morning.
So when Mark came home a few weeks ago, he said, "Oh, we're going to be speaking for Stewardship Sunday." And I looked at him and I said, "What do you mean we?" I don't understand we. Do you mean we like people in the vestry? And he's like, "No, you and I will get up there and we'll talk about, why we give to the church." And so I started to sweat. And anybody who in here who is an introvert knows what that feels like. So I said, "Well, how can I get out of this?" And so, hence the foot surgery. And that didn't work out too well. So, like, "Oh, you can just get up there on crutches." Oh, okay. But I am glad to get up here to talk, and I am grateful that it is in front of all of you because it does make it much easier to talk in front of your church family. More than 30 years ago, my father drove by on the street here and saw this little Episcopal church, and we were looking for a new church at the time. And he goes home and he tells my mom, he's like, "Oh, I saw this lovely little Episcopal church in Rock Hill. We have to go try it out." And so they came the next Sunday. And one of the first people they encountered was Ralph Husband. And I think he made them feel so welcome right off the bat. And I don't think it was even much of a decision for them at that point to be like, "This is our new home." And they felt so welcomed here. And so with that, brought along my sister and myself. Mark and I got married in this church a little over 25 years ago. And one of the things that struck me when we talk about like why I give to the church was how much the youth meant to this church and how this church saw the children here and how important the children are. And as a teacher, that meant a lot to me. And so I started teaching Sunday school and then eventually became the Sunday school director. And just watched how these children grew up in the church I'm looking at here, and I know I saw Julie here and Trevor right there, and seeing them as these little kids when they were in kindergarten and first grade and now adults in the church. And to be a part of that is so amazing, and I am so grateful for that. I remember doing the Christmas pageants, and God bless you, Lori Bradshaw, let us use Liam as our Jesus. And I was like, well, then that means Julie has to be Mary because I'm only trusting somebody in her family to take care of him. I don't think I breathed that entire evening. But, and to see Liam now and literally when he was a baby in the manger up here, just the love that this church has for its children and its youth just keeps me coming back, and it's why we raised our son here, for sure. Another day, Mark comes home. And so now, teaching's my comfort. I'm comfortable doing that. It's my world. It's what I do for a living. I'm all good there. So then Mark comes home and he says, "Well, I signed us up for a friendship group." I said, "What do you mean us?" He says, "Nate's too young to go to friendship group, and you're going to go by yourself? Like, what do you mean us?" Because again, the idea of going out in a very small, intimate social gathering with people that I know you, but I didn't know you. And was scary for me. I'm much better in larger group settings and larger parties where I can go off and find the family dog and just hang out. I'm much more comfortable there. But we went to our first friendship group, the McQuinskys, the Shebats, Rosatis, Carol Reeds. And it was such an amazing feeling to listen to their stories about their lives, how they came to the church, about their families, places they've been around the world, experiences that they've had, that it wasn't awkward for me at all. It was such a nice feeling of being a part of that group and getting to know these people on a much deeper level than just seeing them at coffee hour. And so Mark said, "Well, I'll sign us up again next year." And I was like, "Okay." Okay. But we've been signing up every year, and it's now one of the times of year that I most look forward to. I've gotten to know so many of you, and it just had such a much deeper connection doing those friendship groups. And again, it's why we continue to come and give to the church, because it does make us feel like a part of a family. I know that whenever we've asked my parents how they want to celebrate different milestones in their life, whether it be a specific anniversary or a birthday, they've always said, "Well, we want to celebrate with our St. Andrew's family." And because this church is home and it is family to us, and it is why we keep coming back and why we give. You're up. I did make the deal. I said, if we're doing this, I'm doing this first so I can.
And I'm going to say you covered it. I'm
All right.
How do you want to?
Ooh, that wasn't bad.
All right. You good?
Do you mind if I sit?
No, please do. Make sure she gets back all right. All right, my turn. She says she doesn't like to do that, but obviously she's a tough act to follow. Thank you, dear. Good morning, everyone. So as Becky said, we have been coming to St. Andrews for a little over 20 years now. And I do really feel grateful for all the faces I recognize and for also the new ones that I'm getting to know. Every week it seems like there's new faces, which is great. I could get up here and talk about all the various ways we have shared our time and talent over the years, but I'd really just encourage you to find your own ways. There's lots of opportunities. It's your journey, I guess. There's sign-up sheets every week. There's emails. There's announcements. There's lots of ways to get involved. If you're not on the email list, let us know. We'll get you on there. But I guess, what do they say? The first step is the hardest, right? So I would encourage you to take that first step and try something. And I'm pretty sure that once you do, you're going to continue and want to find other ways as well. That's been our experience. So I did the cliche thing and looked up some dictionary definitions for today for stewardship and pledge, since it's that season. So stewardship is really just taking care of something. It's pretty simple. And a pledge is a commitment. So I want to talk a little bit about committing to take care of St. Andrews. I'll tie it a little bit to Father Patrick's sermons. He talked last week about the anxiety and worry about the future and how that holds us back. And that can really apply these days to churches because there's a lot of them that are struggling, right? They're financially struggling, their attendance is down, they're merging, they're potentially closing. So how do we maybe address that anxiety here with St. Andrews? And that's committing to this church, making sure that it's a welcoming church, that it's a safe church. We've seen a lot of recent spending, right? We've made some great upgrades, beautification projects, access projects, and we really have made some good momentum there that we'd like to keep to maintain, going forward. Let's see. Nostalgia, we can talk about that a little bit as a stumbling blocks or a barrier to gratitude. You know, we've been coming here a long time, and St. Andrews obviously had a long stretch there where we had, I'll call routines, ways that we did things, and maybe we're shifting away from that a little bit, and it's easy to fall into the trap of, well, it's not the same old St. Andrews, but that's not necessarily a problem. That's something that helps us recognize new opportunities and going forward, maybe things we hadn't seen before. So, when you're considering your pledge card this year, we'll tie it back to the pledge, think about the opportunities we're seeing now in the present and going forward with ministries and outreach and just growth and learning and all the programs that we're seeing now. It's really encouraging. So, keep that in mind, and I would just ask that you commit to caring for St. Andrews. Yes? All right. Thank you all.